Just because your viewers are in Austria and your eastern neighbor is Hungary, my home country, I thought I would share a couple of thoughts on what the Hungarian government did to try to stop inflation and what it resulted in. So that's kind of a fairy tale or cautionary tale of what not to do when one tries to stop inflation. Hungary currently has an inflation rate of almost 25%, with food inflation being 80%. And that has one simple reason. The government tried to meddle with the price mechanism. It introduced price caps in a vast area of goods, including energy, including fuel, including basic food items. And as a result, a lot of the shops had to raise their prices on the goods that were not price capped in order to make up for the losses for the price capped goods. So Hungary, as a result, has now one of the highest inflations in the whole of the European Union. So really meddling with the price mechanism is not the solution. It's the liberalizing reforms, both on the regulatory and the tax side, that can help. And in order for the demand and the supply to roughly match, that's the only solution for better and lower price levels, not to meddle with the price mechanism. So I hope that the Austrian government is going to be a bit wiser than its eastern neighbor and not try to meddle with this price mechanism. But there's definitely plenty to do outside of Hungary as well in order to rectify these problems.
I got to ask you now because the question that suddenly sprang to my mind. Especially in Europe, we have a very strong tendency of the population to demand from the government these interventions and these regulations. It was like when the energy prices went higher, it was also the population demands from the governments to, hey, put a price cap into it, do something about it, and so on and so on. It's like, do you guys do work on educating the population about these issues, or what would you say? How can a government keep their hands off of these things? Because after all, politicians, their real job is to be re-elected. That is their main job in truth. So how should they go about it to get these regulations out of the way when the people demand them? So do you guys have any experience or thoughts on that?
You're absolutely right. We live in liberal democracies. So what our politicians are doing is vastly representative of what the general electorate demands. That's why I think it's very important for us classical liberals to ensure that a lot of this information is available to the general public. So our inflationary project has been promoted and discussed in 8 European countries. My colleagues have been touring the various TV stations and newspapers. So with this particular research piece, we did manage to reach over 110 million Europeans, which I think is an important part of influencing the debate and discussion and providing the alternative liberal view, pro-market view to the European electorate so they can consider the arguments for themselves. And maybe the next time they're voting, actually end up voting for political parties that don't promise heaven and earth for them, but actually follow a more realistic economic agenda.